Welcome, folks. This is the second episode of Monsters, Murders, and Mysteries. My name is Qatar. I am the host with the most. That's a Beetlejuice reference. But today I have a great panel with me. I have my good friend Ashley, who I know from Alicia, right? That's how we know each other? Yes.
That's how we know each other.
That's how we hung out. That's how we became friends. And you would occasionally come to Cheesecake Factory. I remember. Yeah. And then Kristin Diego is a good friend of mine. She's married to one of my oldest friends. So I love her dearly. She's here with us, and
You're stuck with me.
I am stuck with you.
That was part of it. That was part of it.
I have you ladies here because one, you had the time to be here, so thank you for that. And then two, I wanted to do a topic on female killers and murderers or the femme fatales, and get the female perspective because it is different. It's much different. Although some cases are pre-planned, some cases are just really sick people in general. But I think the female perspective is quite unique compared to the male perspective in terms of, not that they're all alike, but it's great to get that perspective from you two. Before we start, I got to mention that we are in no way glorifying the things that are happening or these violent crimes. We're just conversing on the topic as true crime fans and fans of history to share these stories. So parental discretion is advised. If you we're going to talk about some graphic stuff. So if you don't want to hear it, then just don't watch this video. This isn't a fun Disneyland video. We're going to talk about some really sad, some really dangerous people and the things that they've done. So, but as we jump in, what do you ladies know? Well, this is going to be another topic for later, but this topic kind of goes into today's topic. What do you know about vampires, early vampires?
Are we about to talk about Elizabeth Bathory?
Ooh, someone knows her history.
You know way more than I. I'm like, I know I'm Team Edward. That's about all I know. Interview with a Vampire. I just like little bits and pieces of like, what was it? There was something I read somewhere that vampires were one of the ones that were spreading HIV and all this other stuff. Like they had a lot of venereal diseases. Don't ask me why I read that or where I read that. I don't remember. But yeah, I don't remember anything about that. But
I think modern vampires, I mean, just blood transfusion, it's disgusting for one. There have been cases of modern people that have taken their fantasy of goth and vampires to another level. I believe there's
blood, literally drink. I'm like,
yeah.
Right.
I think there's the Seattle vampire. I think he was, but he's for another topic. Ashley did hit the nail on the coffin, unintended. I did want to bring up the infamous Elizabeth Bathory. She is probably one of the earliest accounts of people using. Well, no, blood has always been used for medical reasons because early on people realized that blood was something that the body needed. It was something that the body bled. Like if not knowing anything about medical history or anything of science, people knew that blood was important. You leach blood, all that stuff. But the Countess Elizabeth Bathory of Hungary, she was known to take on. She would take poor girls from the village or orphans or just or she encouraged their parents like, hey, I have this boarding school for young ladies that I want to teach them how to be a maiden and live in the castle, live a wonderful life. And that sounds amazing. Honey, you get to work for the queen. That's a great opportunity, So a lot of these families jumped at the chance for their poor kids to be able to work for the great Elizabeth Bathory. Unfortunately, that was all a ruse. She was known to murder. I'm not sure if she did the murders, but she had those girls executed so that she could bathe in their blood to keep her eternal beauty.
She did the murders too.
Oh,
but she had accomplices with her servants, but where she really, really messed up was so you're correct with the boarding school. So she started off with poorer girls from neighboring towns, but where she messed up and why she got caught and prosecuted is because she went after wealthy families' daughters. So when because before people kind of knew about it, they knew she was kind of weird, and they knew that the girls that were going there were disappearing. But it was when their daughters started disappearing where they're like, oh, what the heck is going on, right? Like, what is she doing? And she was crazy. Like, she did.
Oh yeah.
She ended up, I don't know if you're going to go into how she passed, like her death. So after she was, so after she was found, right, and found guilty, because they ended up finding out her lair. So she had a lair in her castle, and it was actually built by her husband who had died. So her husband knew of her sick fantasies and actually built her a torture chamber in the castle. And she had that for a while, but when he passed away, she just went completely ham and went completely nuts. Yeah. And it went from like every now and then girls would disappear to where like literally like she was racking up like hundreds of girls, right? Yeah. And she wasn't just killing them, she was mutilating them. So she was like mutilating them in their, specifically in their, kind of disturbing, but in their female region. So I think she got like a sexual high from it. Mm-hmm. And then she also would bathe in their blood. And then there's other things that she would do. Like I think the craziest thing that she did was she hung someone from like a chandelier. And while she lay down on the bed and like had sex with someone, she had like the blood like dripping down on her.
Wow, I didn't know about the sexual antics she did.
It sounds like she had a really big fetish. Like it sounds more fetish-y than anything.
I think it was fetishy, but I think the piece of it where the Dracula piece comes to play is and the bathing of the blood. She would bathe in the blood because she did think that it made her younger, right?
That was a big thing that I read about.
You guys watched American Horror Story, right? Is that
I haven't caught it yet. I need to catch it. You know.
Oh my gosh! Like okay, I can't. It was the girl from Titanic. The
Kate Winslet.
New Money.
It was Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates. The
Misery.
Molly Brown. The unsinkable Molly Brown. Yeah.
Oh, it was. I just remember watching that particular season, and I was like, this lady is like crazy. She really thinks that. Her husband you haven't seen it, Couture, have you?
Well, I've seen a little bit of the first season. I just couldn't catch it. Like it's one of those shows I hear good things about, but I was like watching like okay, then I got kind of bored, you know.
It's like hit or miss with the episodes. Yeah. That's the thing that's hard.
It's an anthology.
It's like I couldn't get on the Freak Show one, but the witch one I loved. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know they take a lot.
The witch one was great.
They take a lot from history and folklore. You know, like. I do want to watch. I know there's different seasons. They did like a Roanoke season one time, you know. Like there are lots of. I do want. It's on my list. It is on my list to like catch up on. I'm a big horror fan, so.
And her Kathy Bates character in that one, it was actually based on Madame de la Rue, which is from Louisiana. So her thing is kind of mess. There's another one. So she was a serial killer in the 1800s, and actually. Fun fact: Nick Cage actually ended up owning that house for a little while.
I'm not surprised.
He's kind of interesting too. But I think it ended up going into foreclosure. But they had it as a museum for a while. Oh. But the atrocious stuff that they had in American Horror Story, she actually did all that. So she was a slave owner, and probably the craziest.
I think I have her. Like she tortured her slaves.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, go ahead.
There was.
Bullhead. She made a creature, and he had.
She made a creature, a minotaur. She put it on the head, but I think the craziest thing that she did was so a little girl ended up committing suicide and jumping off of the building because she saw this room that she had, which was upstairs, and this upstairs room, and it's kind of rumors. People say some people say it wasn't real, but some people say it was. Like her torturing the slaves definitely was real, but the extent that she did, they don't know how much of it, but people were saying that she did experiments on the slaves. Like she would do she would like cut body parts, like when they walked in she was like trying to do like a crab creature on someone, like she cut off their limbs and would like sew it on them.
This is science.
Like just crazy shit. And she was like sewing people's mouths shut and then doing all this experiments on their other body parts and everything.
You know,
but
there's a long history of experimenting on people of color.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really, I mean, we have the advancements of medicine because of those experiments, which is like sad, but also like there's no one talks about it. Like the medical field doesn't like it's not something that it's brought up a lot. because
They
it's
don't
a very dark
acknowledge it.
secret. Yeah, but
Yeah,
a lot of
and-
our medical history has been from basically experimenting on people of color, you know. So
And what's sad about that is that they didn't do any anesthesia because they started
yeah,
a rumor.
yeah.
They
Well,
started
yeah,
a rumor that for whatever reason, like people of color, like they had a higher pain tolerance and stuff. So they're doing
they treat them like animals.
surgery.
I mean that's
treated
really what
them,
it is.
yeah.
Well,
Or even the queen, she saw those peasants as less than human, and that's the about wealth too. Like back in the day, you thought you were in your godliness when you had money or advantages. So it's one of those things where it's better. It's great now that it's good that we have a little bit of better social structure now. But back then, you know, if you were a wealthy person, you were like looked at as someone like better than anyone else, and that just your nose was stuck up at the entire time. Well, I didn't know about I didn't know about the lose. I mean, I've heard about it, but now that you remind me, I might want to look into that more. Would you like to share more?
Yeah, she the way that she actually got away. So I have noticed with a lot of the like female killers and stuff, they either get light sentences or they get off, it's like scot-free.
get away with
but
murder.
They get away with murder.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because men are the ones that are like, she's so nice. There's
there's no way this dainty little thing could have done this.
Yeah. Which still happens today. What's happens today? Yeah.
She hightailed it out of there though. So the way that she got caught was she had an elderly slave woman who was her cook, and she had burned something, and she had started a kitchen fire, and I don't know if it's a kitchen fire, but something happened, and she was worried that she was going to be put up to the room, right? So she was chained. This is how cruel she was. She was chained to the stove and forced to cook for them and stuff, and she started a fire on purpose, and the fire happened, and then when the fire broke loose and the fire department came and everything, they noticed that room was locked, her torture room, and they told her to unlock it, and she said, no, don't worry about it. And she's like, we hear people screaming in there. She's like, don't worry about them, right? And so when the fire happened, she just ended up slipping away and slipping into the darkness, and no one knew what happened to her. She just completely disappeared after that.
So she never was found.
She never was found.
Really?
Yeah. So she
That's
totally got away with it. Yeah. So
That's
the fire happened. She's like, as soon as they found the room, she's like, shit, I'm on the bounce. So she left, and
She
no
was
one
red-handed there.
Yeah.
There's no way they're gonna.
There's no way.
Try and lock it, or they're gonna break in. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah.
And
there.
So go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh well, going back to Elizabeth Thackeray, the
Bathory.
Bathory, the Bathory. That's funny. The vampire queen, as she's been labeled. So I think a big part of why she bathed in those were there virgins or these young ladies, or maybe both.
I think they were both.
Okay.
I think it was both. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she bathed not only for to be youthful, but also for beauty. So like, there's a cosmetic, I guess, reasoning to those murders. You know, like you think it's bad to test on animals, you know, but imagine back then, like, oh, look at this beautiful girl's ample skin. I want that. I'm gonna put her blood on my skin. Like that's the logic of people back then, because there's no science, there's no
backing.
barely no hygiene or what all that stuff. It's just whatever you think you believe or religiously or what right you think you have. Really scary stuff.
I don't know if this is a PG like what if I can curse or whatever or say certain things.
Yeah.
So it's a Korean cream, and it's made out of baby penis. I'm not kidding.
Foreskin?
No.
It's made out of foreskin.
Oh.
So they basically.
Okay. I was like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Like we're killing babies and taking?
No. They don't. I
Okay.
think after they have the surgery and they're circumcised, they take the foreskin and I don't know.
I mean, it's
they
not
put it
wasteful,
into this
I'll tell you
cream.
that.
So they're probably trying to find like the like they kind of do it with the umbilical cord when they're trying to find like stem cells. So they're probably
Oh yeah.
They maybe break it down maybe.
Trying to find it in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of
I mean,
like placenta and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Don't some women eat placentas?
They do. They make a smoothie out of it.
Or soup or something?
it depends where you're from, but you can actually have them in pill form. You can actually have your placenta sent out for pills, and it actually helps with postpartum depression.
I'd be okay with that. Pills are
Yeah.
okay.
So
I don't know about rubbing.
I don't know about the meatiness of having it in a smoothie. I feel like even if it's blended, there's still going to be quote unquote chunks in there, and I'm just like, not about.
Well, if you okay, totally talk. If you were to dehydrate them and then grind them very finely, then yeah, it's like a protein powder.
I can do that. We eat weirder stuff.
If you can taste it, I don't need to know what the placenta tastes like.
You'd be like, just the tip.
How weird would it be if like you and your husband drink it or something and he hadn't?
Well, Kim Kardashian did she did a blood facial, right? With her own blood.
Oh, you're right. A vampire. She did the vampire facial, the blood transfusion facial.
I mean, how much collagen is in the human blood? Because I know collagen is a thing for skin that it's on a lot of products, right? Collagen
is that when you're doing so Jason and I actually we went to go get a vampire facial. I had paid for it and we had our appointment. I don't drink water, so my blood wasn't really blood. It was like tar. She was like, I can't pull any blood from you.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So she's like, Starbucks dark roast. This is just
as I drink my double shot, right? I don't drink water. I just never have been
sponsored by Starbucks.
Jason, water like it's no other. So they dry and then they put it in a centrifuge and then they split. So you get like the plasma part. It's the clear part. And then what they do is they kind of do, it's like micro needling, and then it's like they kind of scrape your face.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Oh yeah,
in it. So it's supposed to do two things. It'll increase the collagen production, and then that plasma helps like heal it. And then they also did what they call a facelift. So Jason had some acne scarring like on his cheeks, and they injected it like in his cheekbones. Like his face was swollen, but he looked like, I was just like, I'm so jealous of you. You look freaking beautiful.
You're like, you have a baby's bottom for a face.
Like, oh my
it's so
God,
smooth.
So pretty. And so
so you did have a butt face, right?
But you don't see the benefits until 30 days later. And let me tell you, his face, like a month later, I was like, I literally hate you right now. He had like little, like the fine lines were so minimal. Like his face was like supple, and his, even like where his acne scars were, it like thinned it out a little. Like it wasn't as like sunken. So I haven't had mine done yet. I need to chug water and then go do it. So
I will go do it with you. If you do it, I will totally go with you. I'm very interested.
I'll go with you we'll do it together, because he was like, I'm never doing it again. And then I did hear.
I wouldn't. I don't like blood. I'm not a blood person at all. Yeah.
You just don't look at that part. You just don't look at it.
It's everywhere. It's a blood facial.
You're like touching it. You're like,
oh my God. Have you ladies heard about Eileen Wuornos? She she was portrayed by Charlize Theron in the Oscar award-winning performance in Monster. So Eileen Warren.
Oh yeah.
She did an amazing job in that role. I think that's
amazing.
One of her. She won an Oscar for God's sake.
Tripped me out. I was like, that is no way Charlize Theron. I couldn't believe when I saw her. I'm like, dang, like she put on the weight. I mean, she talk about committing. She
deserved that Oscar for 100%, sure.
100%.
There are numerous documentaries about Eileen Wuornos, pre-trial and post-trial. Crazy stuff that went down with her, and like, yeah, she did some very awful things. She lured men, and but at the same time, she's also a victim of society. You know, like the way, like hearing these backstories of people that knew her when she was a kid and just treat her like trash. Like it was just like the when I heard the testimonial from the like the guys that would like call her like, you know, just these really awful names and like kids would, we talk about bullying now like it's a big deal, and we do it now, but back then it's just part of growing up. You know, like it's gonna toughen you up, or kids just gang up on you. You know, racism wasn't a big thing. It's like we can say what we want. But I remember watching some of these testimonies, and like this one guy was like, "Yeah, I hooked up with Eileen, And then when she came back at a playground, we all threw rocks at her. I'm like they just, and this is how she grew up. And I guess there was a time when she was young and she was pretty and vibrant, you know, and then and she noticed that she can get attention from men, so that's when she got into prostitution and things like that, you know. But she never had a family. She never had a foundation of people that cared about her until she met her girlfriend at the time, you know, and who's still with the girlfriend. I think the girlfriend, they were all on drugs and everything too. So I doubt the girlfriend was as invested as Eileen, you know, thought she was. But the thing about Eileen is that once she crossed that line, there was no going back. She was never a kind-hearted person. She was against the world, you know, and
right.
And the title monster is appropriate because really society created her. Like, she is a product of all the things that happened to her. So with Eileen Wuornos, I definitely feel like, yes, she is a monster and she did some awful things and killed lots of men, but she definitely is. She is a victim, you know, and I feel like her cases like Eileen are much more common than you know of the vampire queen or other people we're talking about, because it's a lot of times these awful people are just given bad hands and no one there to just reach out and help. I always find that it's easy to sink into depression, sink into just how life is just hard, you know. But luckily for people like us, we have foundation of friends and family, and you know, I have the means to get out of that funk. You know, what are some things that you feel, you know, could deter someone becoming a monster?
I think you could do one of two options, right? If you've been dealt with a hard path, you can either fall into those depressions and then fall into the vices and then fall into the addictions, or you can sort of tell yourself, I never want to be this person.
Yeah.
Because I know how I felt being treated like this, and I would never want to do that to anybody else. And unfortunately for Eileen, right, I think that she fell into prostitution where in that particular field, it's a lot of traumas, right? It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of sexism. It's a lot of horrible things that she had to go through. Because even if you're like a prostitute, you can still be raped, right? You can still be raped. She got
super dangerous.
She got mugged. There was almost a couple times where she was killed and stuff. And I think that, you know, with a lot of people, I think with her, it just kept piling up and she just snapped, right? She was holding it all in. I think the way that I feel like I ground myself is that I did years of therapy, and then the main thing that I did was I got away from my environment, right? And I think that was the thing that helped me the most. I got away from my environment and I really got into a mode where I controlled my own destiny in terms of like, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to make a better life for myself. And then you were talking about means earlier, right? I am very fortunate that I have the means to be able to do things, right? If I need to, right? If I need to get away, if I need to do that. And then I feel very fortunate now because, you know, the family that I have, it's definitely the family that I've chosen. It's my friends, it's people, and the people that I have in my life specifically bring good things to my life, right? They're not there to use me. I honestly, with Eileen, I feel for her. Like when I watch her story, I think she's one of the few killers, right, that I can actually look at and be like, man, she was, like you said, she was dealt a really bad hand.
Yeah.
And how would her life have been if it was any different? And I don't know if in her case, you know how like some people, like for example, like with Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have anything really crazy that happened in his life other than his parents divorcing and his mom being a little crazy, but he wasn't like abused per se, right? Like his parents loved him and everything. He may have had some emotional abuse from his mom being crazy, but
I think his societal repression of his homosexuality was
his homosexuality.
Big part
I think
of it.
that I think that played into it as well. But I definitely think that he came from a product of a loving family, right? And whereas with Eileen, I almost wonder if you plucked her out of the situation that she was in and you put her into a loving family, what kind of person would she have?
Yeah, or anybody. But you know, there are also people that have loving families that grow demented as well. So it's one of those things that's hard to spot. But you're right. With Eileen, I'm not condoning everything she did. But I do feel like if there was one moment in her life where like someone reached out to her, or like one person showed her a bit of human decency, like maybe that could have led her the other way. But it's really sad to see, because I'm not one that thinks that evil. I don't think you're born evil. I think by circumstances make you the people you become, or lead up to the actions you do. So when I kind of dug deep into Eileen and watched those documentaries and the movie Monster, it's easy to sympathize with her, and even at her sentencing, she was like, what? She saw it as like she added up all the time she's been abused and raped, in accountability. Like, why am I getting punished when all these people have fucked me over this entire time? Like, this isn't fair. And like, but at that point, she crossed that line. There was no. She was all darkness. Like there was. I don't think there was any way to rehabilitate her, and I don't think there's any way to not have her pay for those crimes. Like.
But the thing too with that is that, like, even if like in that situation, once you get into the point of prostitution, it's kind of one of those things where you do get raped, and it's kind of like like, okay, so let's say like you're a stripper and you break your ankle in those shoes. It's kind of like job hazard, like it's kind of that same concept where it's like that's part of that, like, not that that's part that should not be like okay, but it almost is like it's okay because it's in that bill, because it's not actually you can run to the cops and say I got raped, because she's going to get penalized even more for being a prostitute. It's like, oh, well, you're a prostitute and
you live your life a certain way. We clearly know, yeah.
And we're just going to justify that, it wasn't really rape. He paid for a service. And now, that's kind of like that thing. It's like she had no window out, which is the sad part, because she couldn't defend her. I mean, the only way to defend herself is either kill or kill. Like, that really very much options for her, or run away if she could. But she just, I mean, you're kind of like a product of whatever your surroundings, in a sense, as much as I hate to say that. You can, like Ashley was saying, you can either move forward and just say, I'm not going to be part of this, or you just fall in that pit and there's no way around.
I think as someone who's battled with depression and anxiety and stuff, you're always going to be in that until you make that decision for yourself that you want to not take that negative and continue to be negative. So I guess the best advice I can give anybody, as long as there's air in your lungs and a tomorrow every day, there's always hope, and for me, I had to make that decision to want to do better. And, basically for me, it's like, you have people that you love that aren't here, that are gone. They can't live their life. They can't change their life. It's done. But you do. I have that ability. I have that chance. So so anybody who's having any depression or dealing with any trauma, there's always someone to listen. There's always help. There's always hope. So I'll even leave the number for some help down below. So however bad things get, just know that there's hope. You can always, every new day is a new chance to change tomorrow.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our recent special on Lady Killers with Ashley and Kristin here on Monsters, Murders, and Mysteries. If you like what you saw, we had so much fun doing this topic that I decided to make this a two-parter. So this is the end of part 1, and part 2 will continue in a few days. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Please feel free to comment, subscribe, and like. I check all those, so let me know. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next panel. And if you have any ideas or topics, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. So once again, be safe, be kind, be you.